Kelly Ripa has built her career on being an open book, but even her most devoted fans weren't quite prepared for how raw and personal she got on a recent episode of Live with Kelly and Mark. What started as an ordinary morning of banter and lighthearted segments turned into something far more revealing, as Kelly pulled back the curtain on a health scare that left her shaken, and a years-long journey with her own body that she admitted even she didn't see coming. Sitting beside her husband Mark Consuelos, cameras rolling, Kelly didn't hold back. And by the time the segment ended, viewers at home were reaching for their phones to share what they'd just witnessed. For anyone who has followed Live with Kelly and Mark over the past few years, this kind of unfiltered honesty is exactly why the show has become appointment viewing for millions of Americans. But this particular moment struck a different chord because it wasn't about celebrity gossip or a viral red carpet moment. It was about Kelly herself, her health, and the vulnerability she rarely shows outside of her marriage. And in true Kelly Ripa fashion, she turned what could have been a private, uncomfortable topic into a candid, almost therapeutic conversation with her audience, the kind that has made her one of the most trusted voices in daytime television. To understand why this moment resonated so deeply, it helps to remember just how far Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have come together. The two first crossed paths back in 1995 on the set of the soap opera All My Children, where sparks flew almost instantly despite Kelly being wary of workplace romances at the time. After a brief split, the two reconciled, and in a whirlwind moment of passion, eloped in Las Vegas in May of 1996. Nearly 3 decades later, their marriage has become one of the most enduring and publicly beloved partnerships in entertainment, built not on some fairy tale idea of romance, but on genuine friendship, mutual respect, and, as Kelly has said herself, actually liking each other, even after all these years. Together they built a family, raising 3 children, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, all while juggling demanding careers in front of the camera. Kelly's own career, of course, extends far beyond her marriage. She rose to fame in daytime soaps before becoming a fixture of American mornings, first alongside Regis Philbin, then Michael Strahan, then Ryan Seacrest, and now, in a turn that once seemed almost too perfect to be real, alongside her own husband. Mark's transition from guest co-host to full-time partner on the show wasn't originally part of some grand plan. It evolved gradually, born out of chemistry that audiences simply couldn't get enough of. When the show officially rebranded as Live with Kelly and Mark, it wasn't just a rebrand, it was a recognition that their real-life dynamic, playful, teasing, sometimes bickering, always affectionate, had become the heart of the program. That format has powered the show's continued relevance in a media landscape where morning talk shows are constantly fighting for survival. Which brings us to the heart of the story making waves right now. During a recent taping, Kelly opened up about a health scare tied to a routine physical she'd but taken for granted for years. As she explained to her audience, she'd gone in for her annual blood work, something she described as almost a formality at this point, expecting the same steady results she's seen for the better part of 2 decades. Instead, she got a call that stopped her in her tracks. Her insulin levels had come back unusually high. For a woman who prides herself on discipline and consistency, someone who has spent years cultivating a reputation for balance rather than extremes, the news hit differently. Kelly admitted candidly that the timing wasn't exactly ideal either, since she'd unknowingly snacked on dried cherries and cranberries right before heading in for the test, a detail that added an almost comedic layer to an otherwise tense moment. But beneath the lighthearted delivery, there was real vulnerability in how she described that instant of fear. The moment when a phone call from her doctor's office turned an ordinary day into one filled with uncertainty. That openness about the scare was only part of what made this recent stretch of shows so emotionally charged. Kelly also revisited a health decision she made years ago that continues to shape her daily life, her choice to give up alcohol back in 2017. What might have seemed like a simple lifestyle tweak turned into something far more complicated for her physically, as she revealed that quitting drinking actually led to unexpected weight gain, upending everything she thought she understood about her own body. It was a strikingly honest admission from someone who has spent years being scrutinized for her appearance. Someone constantly asked how she does it, how she stays so fit, so consistent, so seemingly effortless. To hear her admit that even she has been surprised, and at times frustrated by her body's response to major life changes, added a layer of relatability that resonated deeply with viewers who have faced similar struggles. And then there was the moment that perhaps hit closest to home for longtime fans. The weekend Kelly spent isolated in her own house, battling what she described as one of the worst colds she'd had in years, forced away from her own family because Mark, ever the dramatic protector, kept his distance the moment she started coughing. She laughed as she recounted how her husband practically fled the room after one rough cough, joking that he sounded like he was avoiding a baby seal in distress rather than his sick wife. But underneath the humor was a quieter truth. The reality that even someone who appears endlessly composed on camera experiences those very human moments of feeling run down, isolated, and simply unwell. It was a small moment, but it captured something bigger about who Kelly is when the cameras aren't necessarily catching her at her best, and her willingness to share it anyway. The reaction across social media and entertainment outlets was swift and overwhelmingly warm. Fans flooded comment sections thanking Kelly for her honesty, with many pointing out how refreshing it is to see a public figure discuss health scares and body struggles without spinning them into some polished, overly rehearsed narrative. Clips of the segment quickly made their way across platforms, with viewers highlighting not just the emotional weight of her insulin scare, but the way Mark stayed close throughout, offering support without stealing the spotlight from his wife's moment. Entertainment writers picked up the story almost immediately, framing it as yet another example of why Live with Kelly and Mark continues to dominate morning ratings, precisely because audiences feel like they are getting real people, not just polished hosts reading from cue cards. Of course, this being the internet, some corners of social media took things further, spinning rumors and exaggerated claims about far more serious diagnoses, cancer scares, and secret health crises that simply don't hold up against what Kelly and Mark have actually said on air. It's a familiar pattern in the world of celebrity news, where a genuine, human moment of vulnerability gets amplified and distorted into something far more sensational than reality. What actually happened, based on Kelly's own words, was a genuine scare tied to an unexpected blood test result, a years-long adjustment to her body after quitting alcohol, and a rough weekend battling a cold, not some hidden, undisclosed illness. Still, the swirl of speculation says something important about just how much people care about Kelly Ripa's well-being, and how quickly concern for a beloved public figure can spiral into rumor when clear information is scarce. So, why does this moment matter in the grand scheme of Kelly's career and the show's trajectory? For one, it reinforces the format that has made Live with Kelly and Mark such a rating success in an era when morning shows are fighting harder than ever for relevance. Audiences aren't just tuning in for celebrity interviews and viral games, they're tuning in because Kelly and Mark feel like people they actually know, complete with health scares, marital bickering, and imperfect mornings. This kind of transparency also does something valuable beyond entertainment. It opens up broader conversations about insulin health, blood sugar awareness, and the often unpredictable physical effects of major lifestyle changes like quitting alcohol. Topics that resonate with millions of everyday viewers navigating their own health journeys. Kelly, whether intentionally or not, has become something of an accidental health advocate simply by being honest about her own experiences. Looking ahead, it's worth wondering how this moment might shape the show going forward. Kelly has never been shy about revisiting emotional topics once she's opened the door, and given how much positive attention this recent openness generated, it wouldn't be surprising to see more segments dedicated to health, wellness, and the realities of aging gracefully rather than performing perfection. There's also the broader question of how Kelly's willingness to be vulnerable continues to strengthen her bond with Mark on camera, given how naturally he stepped into a supportive role during these discussions rather than deflecting with jokes. As the show continues to evolve creatively, this kind of emotional authenticity may increasingly become part of its identity, distinguishing it from competitors leaning more heavily into flashy segments and celebrity spectacle. At the end of the day, what unfolded on Live with Kelly and Mark wasn't a scandal or a crisis. It was something far more human. A beloved television personality choosing honesty over polish, vulnerability over perfection. Kelly Ripa reminded audiences why she has remained a fixture of morning television for so long. Not because she pretends to have it all figured out, but because she doesn't, and she's willing to say so out loud. From an unexpected blood test scare to years of adjusting to life without alcohol, to a simple weekend spent sick and isolated from her own family, these moments painted a fuller, more relatable picture of a woman millions have watched grow older right alongside them. So now we want to hear from you. What did you think of Kelly's honesty about her health journey? Do moments like these make you appreciate Live with Kelly and Mark even more? Or do you think some things should stay private, even for celebrities as open as Kelly? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more of the biggest entertainment stories as they unfold.